Hey, and welcome back to the Optimized E-commerce podcast. I'm Tanner Larson. This is Matthew Stafford, and we are the owners of Build, Grow, Scale. I think that's that company over there, I think, right? Yeah, that's our company. Yeah. So today, I think, actually, I have to talk a lot today,
Yeah.
right?
So what I'm going to do, I heard Tanner wrote a book, and so we're going to talk about that.
So it's actually not that funny, but apparently, this book that I wrote back in 2016, while he was sitting in the office with me, he never knew I wrote.
Yeah.
So it's become the biggest inside joke that's not even funny, but everybody thinks it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny amongst our crowd.
Yeah, especially amongst our customers.
I get asked all the time, should I run to a funnel? Should I run my products through a funnel, or should I run my products through a store? We've obviously done both, and Tanner did write the entire book on e-commerce funnels and how they work. And then I know that you have another version coming out with stores.
Correct.
Why don't we go ahead and I'll let you.
Okay. So yeah, again, guys, that is the question, right? Because when this book came out in November of 2016 is when we published this. Where we were at and where the e-commerce industry as a whole was very antiquated. That's why this book was written, because it was so antiquated, we had to basically evolve it and show the world what real e-commerce looked like. And in this version, if you've read it, the first section of version 1 was all about how you should never send traffic to a store and always to a sales funnel, okay? Now, at the time, that was the common and accepted wisdom, right? Yes. And it wasn't just accepted, it was proven.
It was what was happening.
We could get a funnel to convert so much better than we could get a store to convert. And so at the time, the methodology was use the funnel and then use your store as a back end and a way to send existing customers and past customers back to the store. It's now 2020, right? A lot has changed. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm gonna get into whether you should have a store or a funnel and what's right and what's wrong. And honestly, there is no right answer. Almost anything can be done both ways. There are some benefits to doing one versus the other. But I want to talk about the evolution of where Build, Grow, Scale came from. Because when I wrote the first version of this book, which we were doing funnels with the store on the back end. Everything was to a landing page because we could get much higher conversions, higher average order values and all that. And then we could use the stores later. Here's what happened, okay? As we started working with more and more companies through our Amplified Partner Program and through our Business Accelerator Program and just doing a lot of consulting, bigger companies and more traditional online vendors have a very hard time grasping the sales funnel concept. Or if, let's say, they're an apparel company, how do they fit their 600 SKUs into a sales funnel, right? It doesn't work for a whole business model, okay? So it was very hard, and also they didn't want to adopt it. So what Matt and I had to do was, okay, well, some of these guys just aren't going to use the sales funnel. So we had to go back to the drawing board and really force our attention onto the store, because before we could get away with the sales funnel and we didn't have to pay attention to the store. Yeah. So now we turned all of our attention to the stores, and mostly through what Matt and our original small dev team that then turned into 45 some odd people now that are, 40. We're over 40 full-time optimization experts now. We've figured out that everything we were doing on the funnels, we were able to take those core elements out of that and the principles that were making them work and apply them and a sales funnel is more this way, right? And a store goes more horizontal. So we were able to apply them to the store in the same way. And now we can get a store to convert almost as highly, if not as highly, as most sales funnels. Yeah. So, where people were getting, I got a 4% conversion on my sales funnel. Cool. That's our benchmark average for all the stores in our network. We had one store over Christmas last year, or the last Q4.
Yeah, the entire Q4 converted over 10%.
Yeah, and that's in the 7, 8, 9% is not uncommon. Now it's not all the time, and obviously if you throw shit traffic at it, then the conversions drop. But the thing is we've been able to duplicate the performance of a sales funnel on the stores. Okay, and now Build, Grow, Scale's methodology, our processes, our systems are built more around a storefront because it's more sustainable. It's better for repeat and lifetime customer value than a sales funnel is. Now, I should probably explain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's think about this. A sales funnel is great for acquiring customers. Okay. And that's really why we still use it. So let's lay that out. if your business has a very, very high acquisition cost on an optimized store, if your store is not optimized, your acquisition cost doesn't matter, because if you dial in your store, your acquisition cost will drop. Okay. But let's say you have an optimized store and your acquisition cost to acquire a customer is prohibitively high. You're not able to break even or turn a profit. Okay. And you can't boost your AOV any more on the store than you've done. At that point, looking at a sales funnel for customer acquisition makes a lot of sense, because you can control the AOV and manipulate it a lot more using upsells, downsells, post-action flows, and things like that. And for acquisition, the first time a customer sees you and goes through a funnel, it's cool. They're fine with it. But if Matt bought through a funnel one time, he doesn't want to go through the same hard sales pitchy funnel the second time.
Yeah, and if I already bought your main product, I might want to see what else you offer. Correct. But your funnel is not going to have a whole bunch of offers.
It's not like I can jump back to the upsell, right?
No, right. You're choreographing the experience for what's your highest, best use product.
So where we still use sales funnels, and we recommend people to use sales funnels, number one is if your product for some reason has an abnormally high acquisition cost. For example, supplements, they typically have a very high AOV, especially if you're selling subscription off the front end. Then manipulating a sales funnel to maximize that AOV to acquire the customer at break even or better is the best way to do it. And then all future marketing to that customer goes through the store. So you need both, okay? And it's not so much a one or the other, it's a both. Now, if your products are more not as hard to acquire customers at, and you have a more normal thing, you can get away with no kind of landing page or funnel, especially with most store technologies now allowing for post-purchase upsells, which was really the awesome stuff. Yeah. Now, they're not great on most store platforms now, but they are getting better. And I think within the next year or so, they're going to really have that dialed in. So it's not so much a matter of one or the other. It's more a matter of what fits your needs. But I highly, highly recommend you not exclude the store, because where we found, and with over $400 million worth of sales results in just the last couple of years from doing this, the store is magic. Yeah. If you do it right.
And that's the reason why the new book's
coming out. So yeah, good. I already forgot about that. Yeah. So it's time to update, because everything has changed again. So this book, version 1, was written. It was very sales funnel focused. The new book follows our revenue optimization methodology, which we talked about in the previous episodes, and is about what this whole podcast is about. And it really dials in how we approach store-based optimization, applying sales funnel principles to a store to make a store convert on both the front end and the back end, and for repeat customers. So that's the new version, and it should honestly be done in the next couple months.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is when Tanner wrote this, it was basically built off of all of his experience with sales funnels. Mm-hmm. The new book, we were actually able to leverage the team. Yeah. And so we have multiple viewpoints for the same thing. And so really what you're getting is a much broader spectrum of multiple things. And so it doesn't just rely on one person.
100%. And on top of that, the data that, so when I wrote version 1 of this, like he said, it was most of my experiences, it was millions of dollars in sales, but it's not scratching the surface of the amount. Through our network of partner stores and everything else, we're processing, tens of thousands of sales a day sometimes.
Yeah, we have one store that in the period of a year will do more millions of dollars than what we did through sales funnels.
Totally. So the data that's proving these points is just, it's amazing. So everything in the new version of this book is literally our tried and true best practices, and the most dialed in, accurate, will work across any store that we can possibly give you information. Now, of course, disclaimer, there will be that one store where they're like, this doesn't work for me. Right. And why is that?
Well, like you said, each one has a different use. So you're going to need to ask yourself the question of product. Does it need education, acquisition cost? Is the store going to be is it going to be proper for my customers? Is it what they're prototypical?
Yep.
So there's a multitude of things.
Yep. So all of that'll be in the book. It'll be again in the next few months. As soon as it's released, we'll have it out on the podcast. We'll have it on the website. If you want the version 1 of the book, which is still totally valid, is ecommerceevolvedbook.com. You can go to buildgrowscale.com and pick it up there. Speaking of URLs, it's time for you to subscribe to this podcast, guys. So if you're on iTunes, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe on YouTube. And whichever one you're on, go to the other one and subscribe there as well. This is a video podcast, so you're going to want to be able to see what we're sharing on our screens at different times. So if you do need the links to both of these, or you need links to the other one, or you want to see the show notes on the blog, go to buildgrowscale.com/podcast, and everything you need will be right there.
And then guys, make sure that you leave a comment or a review. We really appreciate the reviews and also the comments. We'll go through those and then use those to tailor the future shows towards what you want.
Yep. With that, guys, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode. See ya.